That's cinema, baby.
It's a podcast, local and powerful hallucinogen. This shit can flatten a football team. A whole few years ago, a Polish guy got so high on this shit, he sawed off his own leg without feeling a thing. It's the good, the pod, the ugly, and the worst French accent I've ever done. What the fuck? How'd that happen?
It started off okay, and then it just went kind of sideways, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It took me like halfway through that to realize it.
Sonny Corleone was a Long Island tough, big eggplant energy, but it wasn't enough. Quattro lived in a belly, but he got one in the brain. My feet exploded, Nessie driving RoboCop insane. Clyde had a gun for fighting, Bonnie wanted one for fun. They was only 24 and 25, and she got 26 shots when they died. And there were squibs when they died. There were squibs when they died. There were squibs when they died. There were squibs when they died.
Hello, and welcome to season 15 of The Good, the Pod, and the Ugly, a film podcast where we traditionally pair films from the filmography of notable actors or directors. This year, or this season, it might take a year, I don't know. We are doing a history of the squib in film. We're doing it with our patented or unpatented temporal pincer movement. I am Ken.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Ryan.
I'm whatever your name is.
And we're joined by whatever your name is for season 15. And whatever your name is, this was actually his idea, Squib season. You've been wanting to do it for a couple of years. That's why you're still recording with us, right?
Yeah, finally. Took long enough.
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean that Jacque is quitting after the season?
I'll
luck.
take a little whatever. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
So if you are listening to this and you are thinking to yourself, what the fuck is a squib?
It's not the guy from Harry Potter that can't cast magic but was born from magic parents.
Yeah, so a squib is a small firecracker-like explosive. It has like an igniter in it that's hooked up to a battery or remote device to activate it. They are often used on inanimate objects. When you see in a movie something gets shot and something explodes from like a pillar or a door or whatever, that is a squib. It's an explosive device that's activated and makes it look like people are getting shot at. Other than inanimate objects, and probably the reason that we're doing this, is that there are also things called blood squibs. And those are the little device that's usually put on a protective plate. And above it is a little bag of blood. Oftentimes, it's a condom during the course of its history, a condom
Bloody condom.
And what they will do is they will score the costume that the person's getting shot so it explodes better. And then either someone off camera or sometimes often even the actor themselves, because they're the ones that know when they're going to start gyrating as if they're getting shot, will have an activator in their hand.
Wow. Cool. So we're done with the season, I think.
Yeah. So squibs really came to, well, we'll talk about it a little bit, but the end of the Hays Code is what really started the massive use of squibs. We're talking late 60s to the late 80s, early 90s was the heyday of practical squibs.
Oh, yeah.
But because we're doing a pincer movement, we're going kind of right, I guess, on the cusp of that and far outside of it.
Yeah, we're going on either side of it. What is a temporal pincer movement? Anybody want to take a stab at how we pair these movies up?
Take a shot at it?
Take a shot at it? Yep.
No.
Wait,
No?
were you on blast? No, fire away. It's cool.
Well, see, the temporal pincer movement, patent pending, is our approach to looking at movies in a series wherein we look at the last and the first together and work our way in, similar to how in Tenet, the movie based on Christopher Nolan's theft of our technology, they run missions from the end at the beginning at the same time and meet in the middle.
Well done, Ryan.
Spoiler. And I don't know. I thought it would be cleaner after 5 years. We're recording this, the day after our first
5
release?
years. 5 years and 1 day to the day our first episode appeared. Happy birthday, guys.
Woo!
Woo.
Cleaner podcast,
Yeah.
write shit down, Thomas. That's the difference.
Yep. We haven't even gotten to what we're the two films we're starting out with and what we're talking about today. Thomas, you want to let us
Well,
know
today
about
we'll
that.
talk about revenge, and we have that paired with our first sequential movie, like the first movie that would have been released in 1960, Hell to Eternity. But today is 2017, Revenge, the year before Mandy. So Nicolas Cage only starred in 4 films, one of which wasn't even a VOD. That movie, Vengeance, a love story. Haven't seen.
Nope. Was that played in theaters?
Yeah, I heard of that one.
Apparently it wasn't VOD, so I'm assuming that it did. I think it was also with his production company, Saturn. I think he was a producer on it.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if we covered the post, even though we had 2 chances to do so with Streep and Spielberg. We definitely did cover The Disaster Artist.
Yep.
Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And Mother. So all those came out in 2017, and we've covered it on the podcast.
Good
Nice.
year. Yeah.
Side note, I have seen Vengeance, a love story. I forgot about it until just now. It's fucking terrible. Don't bother.
Whoa. Okay.
Thanks for the recommendation.
You're welcome.
There you have it.
So, 2017's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Jacque, who directed this? See if you can do better.
Coralie Fargeat is how you pronounce it, and that's thanks to Julian McQuell on youtube.com with the video How to Pronounce Coralie Fargeat Correctly. French.
Hey, Thomas, before you start on the movie, I would like to talk a little bit, in case anybody's interested, how we picked the films that we are discussing.
I'm curious to know how we picked the films we're discussing this season.
So we had a whole big list we all contributed to of movies that had squibs, blood squibs in particular.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we all voted of which one we would like to watch, and whatever got 2 or more votes basically was in. It was that simple. So if you are wondering why certain movies aren't in here, like the Goodfellas or
Tarantino.
We got a Tarantino, we got Django.
D is
All
D
D
is
is silent.
Tarantino.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Revenge was one that Jacque put on there, and I think we all wanted to revisit it, particularly because, as you are going to tell us, the director directed one of the best movies of 2024.
Hey, so this director directed one of the best movies of 2024. It was called The Substance.
Woo, woo.
Great movie.
This film, I would say, is a little bit of a departure from that. It might even be in... It's a little hard to say whether it's actually in the horror canon. Because I think a lot of people do compare it to I Spit on Your Grave. Maybe that's something we can bring up with Eric whenever I'm not on the podcast. You guys can talk about that for a few hours.
Okay. Yeah, trigger warning. The film Revenge does involve rape, sexual assault.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the depiction of that. Fargeat's depiction of it probably when we get a little bit more into our reactions. Because I would say it's fairly different than Bigelow's depiction in Strange Days.
I was not a fan of that. Yep.
Yeah, I remember us talking on that 4x4 and the depiction on that. So for Fargeat, this is her second movie. I'm sorry, this is her first movie, her second movie being The Substance. She had done a few short films and gone through Parisian film school. She is French. Sorry, Jacque. Can't win them all. And as far as some of her inspirations, or what she wants to try and accomplish in film, according to interviews, is that she's looking to... She likes that layer of disbelief and immersion into a world that... so the suspension of disbelief, that film is really this kind of fantastical alternate reality, and to be able to maintain and sustain that. So while she will occasionally have inspirations, she tries not to have homages, or as we say in English, homages. So because she doesn't want to break that suspension of disbelief, she wants that world to be as immersive as possible. And so while she draws inspiration from like body horror, from The Thing to Cronenberg type films in The Substance, or whenever there's a transformation, she does something similar to the long space travel in 2001. She doesn't want she wants that cinematic language sense of what's going on without drawing your attention to it being taken from another film.
Which
Makes
we may
sense.
discuss when we covered Django Unchained.
Yeah. So she's postmodern, but not referential. She doesn't make reference when she steals from other people, but she doesn't call it out.
I don't know
as
how
an
you're
in-joke.
not postmodern. I mean, it's like saying, I don't know. I mean, it's just the water we swim in, right? Like, I don't know how you can really fully say she doesn't break the fourth wall necessarily, though. There's that interesting motorcycle sequence we'll talk about when we get to reactions. We're not there yet, guys. But she did say that one of her inspirations for this movie was Steven Spielberg's Duel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Also
and,
great movie.
And she hadn't seen I Spit on Your Grave, so that was not an influence in any way, shape, or form, right?
I don't know. I mean, it still kind of lives in the culture, I think. Again, this is an Eric conversation. Eric Vanderwolf.
I mean,
No, he's not here.
The rape revenge genre, I think, is, I don't even know that you need to see one. I mean, they're very straightforward, right? It's all in the you get the rape
name.
and then you get the revenge.
So this is lens by two fellows that I like a lot. I'm sorry. It's lens by this dude who, one cinematographer on this, but he worked regularly with two dudes that I particularly like. So the cinematographer doesn't have a lot behind his in his filmography. I can't really say his last name. I'm hoping that Jacque will be able to help me out. But it's something like Ruprecht Hoviet. I think he's Danish.
Perfect. Yeah.
Was it perfect?
That's exactly
Thanks.
how you pronounce it.
Thanks.
Exactly. Yeah. He's sitting right here with us, and he's nodding.
Cool. He doesn't speak a word of English, which is great.
That's why he's just sitting
Typical
there.
fans of our podcast don't. But it's Adil and Bilal, who were the dudes who directed the never released Batgirl movie and the last two Bad Boys movies. And he shot both of those for them, and they look amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as wild as this film might be and visually, it is so tame compared to the two most recent Bad Boys films, which are amazing friendship, aging cop movies set in Florida. I kind of want to talk about them for a while.
You're the one that said we need to get this under an hour. God.
Oh, no. I said together, both of them need to be under 2 hours. So I'm just going to shortchange Hell to Eternity and get to that one. Because if you look up on Wikipedia, because you don't have a lot of ability to do research in the last few seconds before we start recording, you'll find that Peyote hasn't really been in a film recently. It was really popular in the 90s, and then for one exception, or I guess a few exceptions before, but Beavis and Butthead Do America, that has peyote in it. Dead Man, that has peyote in it.
Excuse me. What are we talking about here?
Peyote.
Peyote, yeah.
Or peyote.
Peyote, yeah.
Peyote.
Yeah. Noir.
The Doors, right?
The Doors, even Cowgirls Get the Blues.
Natural Born Killers.
I don't think it's a Natural Born Killer. Oh, I think
that's when Woody Harrelson's face turns all demonic, is when they're on peyote.
That's even in the Wikipedia. You need to add that because Nora's Revenge. But what is, which I didn't catch, was Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
That makes sense.
According to Wikipedia.
Really?
I didn't remember what they took at the end. I just assumed it was acid.
Also a great movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's it for research.
Is this everyone's first viewing of Revenge? Directed by Coralie Fargeat?
Yeah, I actually saw a trailer for this last year, maybe before The Substance, as I'm thinking about it. And so I thought it was like her second film that was going to be coming out, as opposed to a re-release.
Interesting. Yeah. I remember when it came out. I remember you watching it, like being a big fan of it. And the subject matter just didn't seem like something I was interested in just because of those rape and revenge forebears.
Yeah.
How the rapes are usually portrayed in those films and it just being kind of distasteful. It wasn't until The Substance that I was like, hell yeah, I want to see what she did
You saw this in theater, Jack?
I did not. I don't remember how exactly I came across this, but I think this and The World of Kaneko, which we've covered previously on the pod, are the two movies I've seen the most in my entire life. And
Wow.
I don't know what that says about me as a person, but this is probably, I don't know how many times I've watched this. This is probably north of a dozen, which maybe that says something about my opinion of the movie. I know we're not there yet, but
Jack Bridge broke the seal.
Well,
Anybody want to take a stab at the or two stabs at the plot?
yeah, I can.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've seen it a dozen times. Let's
So, wait, what am I doing? The plot.
the plot.
Yes. This movie opens with a very young woman and her older boyfriend who's having an affair with her, cheating on his wife, going out to his place in the middle of nowhere where they're going to spend a couple days having sex and partying before his buddies show up to go on a hunting trip. They show up a little early. They have some fun at first, but then tensions start to mount, which accumulate in one of the men raping her as the other one turns a blind eye. And then instead of helping her out, her boyfriend tries covering it up and paying her off. She runs, they go after her, and the situation accumulates with him trying to kill her. And then she goes on a spiritual vision quest, and the rest is a fight for survival and perhaps some revenge.
It's in the title.
And it gets extremely ridiculously over the top, hilariously, amazingly, transcendently violent.
We're not there yet. No reactions.
Was that the end of the thesaurus entry, Jack? Do you need some time to page?
That was off the top of his head. He was not reading a thing. When he
I
tries
was
to kill her,
surprised-
he shoves her off a cliff.
Yeah,
And she gets impaled.
on a tree branch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I should say up top that this director, Coralie Fargeat, has no interest in subtlety, and that is the thing that I love the absolute most about her style, is that none of the symbolism in here is deep or poignant at all.
Uh-huh.
Her getting impaled on the tree, it's so fucking ridiculous.
But it's like she has a cock or something for a while, right?
Yeah.
From where its shadow lies and where it
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
might be.
Oh, for
So
sure.
I
It's
think-
totally phallic.
To, I guess, limit, if you haven't seen this or put a little bit better picture in your head, it's two friends who show up, and that happens at minute 10. This movie moves at a I didn't realize it was that quick. In my memory, having only seen it once, I thought they showed up, I don't know, 20 more minutes in. I thought there was a lot more setting that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like she's off that cliff, I think, by minute 20 something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that's her last line of dialogue is when
Mhm.
she's arguing with him in the house. The rest of the movie, she doesn't say a word,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
pretty remarkable.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, she screams.
She does scream. Yeah, I haven't. Has she been in like anything else? Does anyone know?
She was in
movies.
Cuckoo. She was in Cuckoo.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's been
I don't
in.
think- I don't
a
think
couple
she was.
things.
That was the one
It
thing
doesn't
I
say it. It
recognized
doesn't
her
say
from
it on her filmography, but I'm sure that she was, Ken. It was
I don't
probably
think
just
she
because
was.
she was wearing her hat backwards that people didn't recognize her.
Yeah. She wasn't in Cuckoo?
no.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. Let's actually not get into reactions yet, Thomas, because we're not at an hour and 37 minutes.
So here's something. Okay, you say that she's not into subtlety. I am curious if ants.
She was in
Actually-
Magpie. I got the wrong bird. Oh my god.
Wait, she's in Magpie.
I got the wrong bird. Anyway, sorry, Thomas.
Yeah, keep going. Ignore that.
Wait, wasn't she in the remake of The Crow? So, oh boy.
Oh, she played Black Canary in Birds of Prey. Yeah.
Oh wait. She in the newest Batman, she played the Penguin. Which goes into our Squib question at the end of the episode, but we'll save that for a moment.
Oh my god.
So there's close-up shots of ants and other insects. In fact, like a spider gets pissed on for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just cool, or does that have any meaning?
It's just cool. It's just badass. Bugs
Okay.
are awesome.
So I was thinking the sound effects that go along with that. I was thinking of David Lynch because of the sound. That I know you said that she wants it to be its own insular cinematic world, but it was hard not to see the ants crawling and have the low thrum sound effect and not think of Lynch.
Mm.
That thrubbing sound comes in a lot.
Yeah.
It's they're setting at least me on edge as a viewer regularly. Also, there's extreme close-ups of eating and the mouth sounds that associate with that, like in The Substance, whenever Quaid's eating.
Yeah.
That is.
The shrimp cocktail.
You will never eat
Yeah.
something with caramel and nougat in it again after watching this film.
That guy gave off a little bit of Jacque vibes from Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah.
Bite. Oh,
I'm
okay.
definitely-
So why is there wrestling playing on television?
Well, because the whole thing's about like glorifying cinematic violence and taking joy in it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, there's also wrestling playing.
Wait, isn't that what I just said?
That's what he just said.
Wrestling and car racing is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty much the same thing if you think about it. Wrestling, car racing.
I mean, these dudes are dudes, right? They're bros. So
Are they?
yeah.
Are they?
I think they want to be. I think there's 2 betas and 1 alpha.
Yeah.
And
And-
1 badass woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when I say that she's not subtle, I know that there is an incredible amount of stuff that goes into these movies, both this and The Substance, and probably a lot of it I don't get. I think she takes a lot of joy in being gloriously unsubtle, but there is definitely a ton of, like, this is, the title alone is interesting because this movie could as well be called like Survival or something, because it's not really until the last 15 minutes that it becomes a revenge movie. Most of it is just a fight for her to survive. I think that's very telling, but I think the title refers to some sort of like revenge or retribution for decades of cinematic violence against women.
Mm.
And I think that's probably the most subtle aspect about it. And you could watch this having never heard of the rape revenge genre and probably enjoy it. But the movie, what makes it so great to me is that it is a very obvious play on the rape revenge genre and just turning that on its head.
Do we have some other examples if somebody wants to watch some rape revenge?
Yeah,
Movie?
the first rape revenge movie is The Virgin Spring, directed by Ingmar Bergman, and it is absolutely fantastic and devastating. And that is what the people whoever made I Spit on Your Grave, which, don't watch that. I haven't seen it either. No one's seen it, but it's bad. Don't watch it.
Last House on the Left by Wes Craven is a remake of The Virgin Spring.
It is, yeah.
Thriller, the one that where she gets her eye poked out and influenced the character Daryl Hannah played in Kill Bill. That one was released X-rated because it had X-rated scenes of the rape, and then also there was rumors that they use an actual corpse.
Jesus
They
Christ.
call her One Eye.
Yeah, it was also called that. Yeah, it's the same movie. Thriller, they call her One Eye.
Yeah, and the very pervasive thing about the rape revenge genre, which makes it so infamous amongst horror nerds like Eric, is that, it started with The Last House on the Left and I Spit on Your Grave, those kinds of movies in the 70s, which were really grimy and nasty and just kind of showing the rape as explicitly as showing the revenge, and almost like the moral code of the movie being, well, as long as these guys get it in the end, it's okay to show both
Yeah.
equally as graphic. But the problem with that is that, and there's this is a whole other conversation really about what the cinematic language of that with the artists, with their intention versus how the audience reacts to it and whatever. But a lot of them, I feel like, are filmed to be titillating with like graphic nudity.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with A Clockwork Orange, by the way. And this movie very cleverly and unsubtly avoids that and does the complete opposite, where the rape is off screen mostly and the revenge is shown in all of its glorious transcendent brutality.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of maybe is our palette as well, just being Gen Zers is that we don't need to see sex on screen because we're able to see it if we wanted elsewhere on the internets. And so, yeah, it doesn't have the same type of titillation.
Well, yeah, but it's also, I mean, in the past, it was very acceptable for your titillation to be rolled in with misogyny. There's definitely, as Jacque kind of alluded to, the people who would go see something like I Spit on Your Grave knew what they were getting into and were hoping for as much tits as blood. I think that was the goal. And also to your point,
I mean, Carrie's like that, right? The first one, not the remake, or any of the remakes,
or any of the remakes.
Yeah, where you start off with titties in the shower scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To your point too, Jacque, I mean, I think the rape revenge genre is kind of a natural manifestation of how, or like the extension of how Hollywood treats rape, because most of the time when it's depicted or talked about in a movie, it's to set up some kind of revenge, like The Searchers and The Unforgiven, where, oh, we got to go get revenge on the rapists. And it's like, oh, and maybe we need to kill this lady too, just for having been raped,
Mm.
And I think that continues now. I mean, most of the time, I think that rape is included in a film in the modern era. It's still to justify some punishment or something shown later.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
And so I guess in a way, it's interesting that they take the film not as a strict revenge film, even though it's called that. And maybe, you know what I didn't do? I didn't look up to see what it was released as in French.
Ooh.
Because it does, like, revenge is a great title, but as Jacque says, it's survival at some level for at least the first two murders.
Yeah.
It was released in France as Half-Eaten Apple in Desert Sunset.
Is that right?
Whatever that is in French.
A point of clarification: when we're talking about "I Spit on Your Grave," we're talking about the 1978 cult film, not the one that was remade in 2010 that stars Tracy Walter. Tracy Walter's in the 2010 "I Spit on Your Grave."
No way!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, we could also mention that one as, I think they remade it as like a trilogy, right? Weren't there three of them?
There were three.
Yeah. And a far cry from this movie that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, the second one's called I Miss It the First Time, so I'm going to try and spit on your grave again.
And also, I think it's worth pointing out that in those movies, the woman hunts down and like systematically tortures the guys that have raped her. And I think I would like to point out that in Revenge, there's none of that jigsaw bullshit. She doesn't like set up a torture chamber and then it's like 10 minutes of her getting her revenge or whatever. It's nothing stupid like that. It just happens to work out for her.
Well, given the barren desert landscape, the temptation to go Wile E. Coyote on them very difficult to avoid.
A giant axe on the ground. She just paints for whenever that guy's chasing her.
God damn it!
At the ATV, she just paints a black tunnel, and he runs into it.
You're 1 second ahead of me.
Yeah. So we're not at reactions yet.
I think reactions.
I was really interested. I thought it was interesting, like how sexualized she still allows her the camera to linger on her protagonist,
which she does also in The Substance.
But The Substance also is about like the camera being on you and needing to look a certain way for a certain demographic to remain relevant.
Yeah.
Whereas this isn't exactly the same, right? We don't have any of a real backstory other than she wants to go to the U.S. LA.
Yeah.
And she is American, right? The other no.
I don't think so.
I think she's supposed to be. Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I don't think she's supposed to be American because when her boyfriend, the funniest part of the movie, says, I got you a job in Canada. He's like, it's basically Los Angeles.
Yeah.
She doesn't seem to have an accent, and I can't tell if she understands when they speak French. But I'm not I'm not trying to hit it hard.
Hmm.
The point
Yeah.
about I just found it interesting. I assumed the whole movie that she was English or American, and that was part of the attraction to her, but I didn't. I was about to ask you guys why she was American. So,
Well, that brings up a really good point. Is like this movie doesn't take place in reality, as no movie does, except for Frederick Wiseman movies. But
And Bowling for Columbine.
but this takes place in, where was it filmed, Kenneth?
Morocco.
Morocco.
Yeah.
oh,
And
interesting.
the way it's filmed, it's like they all speak French, but it could take place anywhere. Like the first couple times I watched it, I assumed it took place in like the Southwest US somewhere.
Yeah, I
thought
thought it might have
Australia.
been Palm Springs or
Yeah,
somewhere in Spain, like where Leone shot his spaghetti western, something like that.
right.
Yeah, all that
And-
mystery road from our season finale last season really made me think of.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there you go. But yeah, the way this is filmed, it's portrayed as like this completely unreal, like outside of reality,
Yeah.
inhospitable waste that could be anywhere. Very similar to Mandy, which this is the most similar movie to Mandy. It's actually, these came out around the same time, but it is so bizarre how similar these
Oh,
two movies
you know
are.
what? Yeah,
Well,
you exchange the desert for the forest. You exchange the 70s rock for a totally banging synth score. By the way,
Oh,
for
yeah.
Revenge. One of the best things about the movie is the score. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's probably why I love it so much. Is sorry, Thomas.
There's
34
body
minutes in.
modification in both.
With
Well, there's
a drug
hallucinogens.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
The
wanted to
drug
get
trip
to.
that-
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
is
guess we'll get
she-
there. We'll get there.
Is she
Uh-huh.
dead? That's my question. I've seen this a bajillion times, but this is the first time that I watched it and was like, "Oh, is she supposed to be dead?
The Jacob
Like, is she an
Ladder.
undead spectral of vengeance?" Because the way that it's filmed, after
Oh.
she survives the impossible to survive falling and then impaling herself on a tree trunk,
And they're literally following gallons of her blood
yeah,
to the
It
lake.
might be like a high
More-
plains drifter scenario.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that. I don't know if that changes the movie at all. but-
I don't
I-
think that she's dead
No,
or
I
American.
I thought it was and when we are able to finally break the seal on reactions, maybe I'll say more about it, but I thought it was just an extension of her exaggeration of everything. Like everything in her movies is at 19 all the time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I had the same thing as Ryan. That this is a total unreality movie, and when she like has to burn herself down from being impaled.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But there's so much that it's close enough to reality at times that
Uh-huh.
helps with the reality, the hyper real, I guess, the moviness of the
Yeah.
movie. Because
Well,
she uses her, one of the things I really liked was that she uses her headphones. She only has so much on her when she gets pushed off the cliff.
Yeah.
One of those things is a lighter. One of those things is her iPod.
Uh-huh.
It was before, I don't know, like, whenever I came of age, it was just all on my phone. So I think I said that right. A Zune. So she has her headphones, which the headphones are like those old ones that have a thing that plugs into another thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to just Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So yeah, she uses that as like a lasso or as a means of grabbing her lighter so that she can light the branch that she's on fire while ants are crawling over her. I thought the ants are going to bring her back to life at one moment. I was like, oh, is she just going to be animated by ants? these like mutant ants. And she's just going to be a swarm person, the queen
boy.
ant.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, I really like the like whenever somebody's struggling to grab something and has to improvise with things around them. I like MacGyver a lot. And so yeah, I like that she had to use what she had on her to be able to get through that portion. Also, again, I'm saying what I think about the film because that'd be reactions. These are moments in the film. I like that the first time that she fires her shotgun, which it's really weird that, like, I guess they're shooting slugs out of that shotgun for the accuracy that they have, but she gets knocked back on her ass.
Yeah.
And so there's moments of like a certain amount of realism like, oh, she's going to cauterize the wound.
Yeah.
That like speak to a movie logic, but also speak to, it's not green room level, but it allows for a certain hyperness or movie logic, because it does
Yeah.
ground itself occasionally. And the fact that people piss and eat and have all these other things that have to be taken care of, which I think there needs to be more urination in films.
Yeah.
After this
Spider.
movie, I was on the fence, but yeah, no, I'm totally. This movie was number one with a rocket or something. I don't know.
When I referenced it being postmodern earlier, that sort of movie logic and the Mandy comparison, that's kind of what I meant, as opposed to something like Green Room, which of course has to exist in a world where all these other similar films have made before. This movie, to your point, Jacque, about it not taking place in reality, this movie only exists in a world that could be conjured by the existence of other movies. Like all of the survival stuff, one of the things that I took away from how she recovers and eventually is able to get revenge is the director's kind of pointing to how dumb action movies are that take themselves seriously. Like, that you could really get hurt badly and then cauterize the wound and go. Like Bruce Willis running around the Nakatomi building after getting his feet so fucked up by glass. Like, that's just not happening. And when you see all this,
what he's got to do, what Bruce Willis has got to do is dig inside his foot vagina for like a good 3 minutes screaming.
Oh, dear Lord.
Until he can pull out the piece of glass, which is perfectly lodged so deep in his fat foot.
Yes,
she references Rambo in some of her influences.
Yeah.
And First Blood. And First Blood and Rambo both have scenes where he's like in a cave and he's like sewing himself up and shit.
Yeah.
And the moment where she takes Dimitri's beer can to cauterize her wound and then wakes up with the American Eagle and the American logo burned into her wound. Man, I was like, man, this is such elevated reality that if you're either totally in and in love with the rest of the movie, or I think you would be out at that point.
I've definitely read reviews where people are like, she wouldn't be able to survive that? That's so stupid.
Yeah, those people are going to be out. Hey, we're not at reactions yet.
Oh my God.
But here's something I want to do for Squib season, because we watch this because of the Squibs. So I'm going to have like some gunshot sound effects. Pew, pew. Better than that.
Oh, look out.
We're going to talk about our Squib reactions before anything else, and that can tie into how we feel about the film. Because we really went into this to talk about the Squibs, and they don't really show up until an hour and 16 minutes in.
But once they do, they're here to stay.
Yeah, the last half hour is just all effects of Squibs.
Yeah, I picked this movie, and a lot of the movies that I put on the list, well, for one thing, I picked it because it's one of my favorite movies, and I love it, and will never pass up a chance to watch it. But a lot of the movies that I picked have, I think, great squibs, and not necessarily a lot of squibs. Like, we'll get into that with, like, Mona Lisa, especially. This one...
Held to Eternity.
Maybe Held to Eternity. Well, I don't know. But this movie, by my count, I think has 4 squibs. Like 4 proper squibs, but all of them are just meaty as hell and fantastic.
Yeah. The first squib is when she shoots the guy who raped her, and hits his upper right shoulder. It's the shoulder he will later use to prop up a rifle to try and shoot at her. It is gory. There is a very, very cinematic splatter of practical blood. It's beautiful. And then the one his end shot, though.
How has no one ever thought of that before?
Car seat,
squib in the car seat.
Car seat head squib. Oh, wow. I don't know. That's going to set a high bar for this season of best squib.
I thought there were a couple. Was there some CGI gore in here, or was that?
Oh yeah, I think I just sent something to the group text.
That was a dummy. That was a dummy head explosion.
Yeah, that was a dummy head.
I don't know. Look how clean that the pieces are.
I did watching it think there was a combination of real squibs and CGI stuff happening, depending upon.
It was aided and abetted practical Head exploding.
Yeah, we do get to we get first from the front, and then the second hallucination is from the back, so we get both angles of a shotgun exploding her head in the mushroom.
Yeah,
sequence.
One of
That-
like 17 dream sequences
Uh-huh.
she wakes up from after her peyote cauterizing evening of transforming into a
Superhero.
being of pure revenge.
I did watch to the end of the film to make sure she doesn't wake up again. Like at post credits.
Uh-huh.
Also, when she finally wakes up from her, I don't know, 7 or 8 different dreams, it's like more than Inception. She knows how to load a rifle or load the shotgun finally, which is nice.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because she hasn't figured that out while she's dying of blood loss in the cave.
And this is something I wanted to talk about is Matilda Lutz, that's her name, right?
Mhm.
She hasn't really been in anything else that I've seen, and she was a model before this, is that right?
Yeah.
And from her IMDb, it sounds like she's a society woman in Europe. You know,
Interesting.
a lady.
Well,
of-
she is fantastic here and does so much with just her physicality, and I find it so remarkable how she doesn't say a word for most of this movie, and after she does the spiritual vision quest peyote trip, she plays that character almost like an animal, but not like I think anyone else would play this as like a stoic badass action hero, but she plays this as like an animal that isn't quite hunting them, but she's almost like curious about everything she's seeing. Like with the shotgun, it's like she's seeing it for the first time
Mhm.
and then just kind of manages to understand it.
Huh.
And like when she's hunting her rapist, that scene where they're on the cliff, she's like looking around the corners and like her eyes are super wide and she's like tilting her head around and she's playing it like a lizard or like some sort of bird. It's a very strange performance because it's not quite badass. She still looks like she's super young looking.
Yeah.
But it's just a really interesting, remarkable performance, and I don't think the movie would work without her.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
each
it's
of
a
the-
very powerful performance.
I don't remember if all 3 of them get something, but there are flashes for at least the rapist to I don't know, not a ballast, but like not a chameleon, but some type of reptile, some type of lizard.
The terribly superimposed
Yeah.
lizard.
Yeah. And then there might be one for the heavier guy who reminds me of Jacque from Twin Peaks.
Dimitri. Hey, can I ask you guys a question about the three guys who get killed? The first 2 in particular. The first guy, Dimitri, is the one who saw it was happening and did nothing. He gets killed by getting stabbed in both eyes.
Uh-huh.
The second guy, that actor is great, the actual rapist. It was all in his head. It was all in his head that she was attracted to him. It was all in his head that she suddenly wasn't. Nothing about what he thought she was doing or who she was had anything to do with anything other than what was in his head. He gets killed with a headshot. So I was totally expecting her boyfriend to meet his end by getting shot in the nethers. It didn't happen, but I thought I was onto something. And maybe I still am. I don't know.
Well, I think he's naked for the last like 15 minutes, which is a glorious action set piece.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because he put her in the vulnerable position, and now
And so he's in the vulnerable position.
There you
see, okay. So yeah, there was
yeah, and I think more poignantly, Stan, the rapist, before he gets shot in the head, he gets his foot penetrated by broken glass and spends 5 minutes
it's one of
digging
the
through his foot.
worst,
Okay. But
most uncomfortable scenes.
it's one of those moments of action movie innovation that also just seems absurd because how that happens is while she's running away, she smashes the binoculars that she's stolen off of her first victim, the fat dude, who she stabs in the eye, like he becomes some type of one-eyed monster.
He stabs both eyes.
Oh, does she? Okay.
Yeah.
And so she has the binoculars, which is also she gets the shotgun, whatever. She's running. She smashes the binoculars up against a rock, and so one of the lenses breaks. She does it purposefully, and it lands. And the path is narrow enough, I guess, and the guy's barefoot enough because he's taken off his shoe to wrap his sock tourniquet around his arm.
Uh-huh.
That he steps on it. And he steps on it in just the right way that it lodges well up inside of his foot. Like his foot must be, I don't know, 8 inches deep. He's got one of the thickest feet I've ever seen. And so he's just digging around in there for this perfectly lodged piece of glass that came out of binoculars. Like the innovation of like, okay, cool. I'm going to make some glass by breaking this. I'm on board. That it magically lodges so far up his foot is the heightened reality of this film, or the moviness of this film.
That I have the biggest smile on my face whenever I watch that scene. That's just transcendent cinema to me.
Well, I've never seen anyone use a dirty sock as a tourniquet or a clean one.
A big ass sock too. I guess in the desert you got to wear them high so the ants don't crawl up your. I don't know. Is that right?
Yeah, that guy. That
for the bingo card, for the bingo card this season, I've already added sewing up a wound and a tourniquet.
It's pretty good
because I think we're going to see both of those.
Yeah, I think the rapist character is the most interesting of the three guys, because even after all this stuff happens, he's still like, well, maybe we should take her to the hospital. In his head, he's still thinking, well, maybe she did want it and did like it, and maybe if I'm the one that saves her, she'll somehow see that we're meant to be together.
And
even after that,
that's
where he's coming from.
Yeah, that's where he's coming from. Deep down inside, he still thinks that she's into him.
I think deep down inside, he still thinks he can be a good person. Quote unquote.
Yeah, project Munchkin.
And she will what? No. That's rude. That's a well-written character, because that's what he would be thinking deep down inside.
Yeah.
Based off of personal experience. So I didn't know. I'm fucking with you. I didn't get that. I just thought he was like, oh, this has gone too far immediately. I think that one of the weirdest things is the boyfriend, or the most interesting thing is the boyfriend, like, cool, I'm going to buy her off with Canada and some money or something, right? And
it's basically Los Angeles.
And then he's like, oh, I'm calling that helicopter right now on my phone. Gets a little closer to her. And then he's like, in his head, he's just like, this is a commodity. This is something I can, like, this is not a person. This is just, I'm a master of the universe. I can do whatever the fuck I want. This is like, and that's why he kills her in my head, is just like, there's this switch that flips where he might have liked her, but all of a sudden he just sees her as some type of commodity that
for sure
sell or trade.
I felt he was the only one who understood the reality of the situation. I don't think he's a good person, but I think he's the only character in the movie who knows who he is.
I'm sorry, which one did you say is not a good person?
The boyfriend is once she's been sexually assaulted, they're all fucked. Killing her is the only way to get out of this situation and maintain their wealth and status and all the things that they, all the privilege that
I have a question about that. There's a scene where Erin Le'Ecart, the boyfriend, says that she could put us in prison for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, why? If they just turn the rapist in, then his wife will find out that he's been fucking around. That's what he's really worried about. But what about what he and Dimitri have done would put them away? Are they illegally hunting? What is happening that they would all go to jail for that long?
That's a really great question. I've always found that line really funny because it's just so specific.
Yes.
But I've never thought about it.
Was that not after they pushed her off the cliff? I thought he said that after they pushed her.
Yeah, because he said she could put us away for 15 years. Like, how?
Oh, I think by that point, it's a conspiracy, right? Like, they all know that she's been assaulted, and
if they chased her down, and he had actually called the helicopter, and they had turned the rapist in to the authorities, and he had done what a proper boyfriend would have done, and backed her up. How would he and Dimitri go to jail for 15 years?
I don't think turning their friend in ever occurred to him or any of them, really. I think he knows immediately what has happened and what needs to happen, the boyfriend. And the other two are just kind of in shock. And that's why they keep wanting to do the very irrational thing of bringing her to the hospital or trying to help her at all. Like, he's the only one who I obviously don't. This character's morals and ethics are the complete opposite of mine, but I recognize and respect that he knows what type of people they all are and is the only one willing to act like it. That's what I think makes him the alpha in a way,
Okay. Yeah.
And he gets one of the most glorious cinematic deaths of all time. The last action set piece in this movie is so good, and it's so clever too, how she lays out the geometry of the house first with that tracking shot.
It's almost like a inverse of American Psycho.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Where he's running naked with the chainsaw.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
But this brings us to our last two squibs, when she shoots him first through the glass, and then there's a great shot of the blood leaping across the couch. And then he has this gaping shotgun wound in his side, and he's completely naked.
There's some intestines maybe wanting to pop out.
Oh my god. And they're shooting at each other and running through the house, and it lasts like 10 minutes, and there's so much just blood
everywhere.
Well,
so much blood.
Eventually, he bandages himself up with saran
wrap.
But what's amazing is that it's one of those moments of height, like of moviness, but also like this happens in a movie world, but also it feels very realistic. I could definitely see, like, they're just running around in circles, basically. It's almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
It's Tom and Jerry with, Tom and Jerry are naked. Just give them guns, there you go.
So, like, yeah, it's itchy and scratchy. They run around just the same small area, which of course they would, because that's what they have to work with. If this was a realistic movie, like if this was a realistic setting, of course that's where the violence is going to happen. But you don't see that in movies, and so it just becomes even more heightened as it becomes almost a maze, even though there's nothing really maze-like about it.
Yeah, it's a square basically.
Yeah. And then I love how there's so much blood that as part of the sequence, she slips in it.
Yes.
Amazing.
At just the right moment.
And then the part that always gets me, that I always forget about somehow, is after she shoots him and we get our final squib. Something I love in movies, he gets shot with a shotgun and throws him across the entire fucking room. You guys know I love that. It is
awesome. Splats across the wall and slides down.
So
Nothing
good.
better.
But right after that, there's a smash cut to the living room and her walking out from the hallway drenched in blood. And it makes me laugh every time, just because the amount of blood that is in that like perfectly pristine room is just so ridiculous. Anyway, I have the biggest smile on my face every time I watch this movie. I love it so much.
Yep.
Is that a reaction?
You guys enjoyed it? Did you guys like it?
Are we past that? Yeah, I thought it was fucking great.
I thought it was okay. I like this episode so much better.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I think I would have felt differently had I seen this before seeing the substance, because I was kind of on guard for her over the topness. I really admire the substance for what it does, but I didn't actually enjoy watching it really. I liked this more than that personally. I didn't think it was as interesting a piece of art, but I think if I watch it again, I would enjoy it a lot.
All right.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I like how bare the film is, and after talking to you all, I like it a little bit more. I don't know, like, if it wouldn't be a first recommendation for me for anybody. Like if somebody said, like, I want to watch a violent film with revenge in it, this wouldn't be necessarily my first.
What would be your first recommendation?
Well, ask me the question, because otherwise it's just hypothetical. I don't really know. Like RoboCop.
What? Okay.
All right.
RoboCop's one of my favorite films, and that's one
later
of
this season.
Yeah.
That does have some revenge and some squibs. A couple squibs here and there.
A couple squibs.
Nothing big.
A few.
Nothing big.
Yeah. A lot of CGI. So yeah, I think you all enjoy it more than I do. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the film. It's just not. I do like, there's things that I think I'm going to keep coming back to in it, like just the ongoing hallucinations that she has after you think that she's back in reality. That she uses, like, it's almost like a phoenix, even though I don't think it's supposed to. It's just supposed to be.
I thought it was supposed to be very phoenix-like. Yeah.
I thought it was an American eagle.
I think it was both.
It was like that whole fuck yeah Rambo thing.
Yeah,
I thought it was a cuckoo.
It does say, like,
it could be a magpie.
Oh no, not this again. But no, it's like the Phoenix from X-Men, the Dark Phoenix. No, I think it says like made in Mexico, right? On her, like it's tattooed onto her as well from the the can.
I didn't
Oh.
see that.
I didn't see that. I saw it.
I'm almost positive. Like I'll do a bet out there if I'm wrong. Strapping from. Oh, I thought that initially when they because the drugs are handed off by the helicopter pilot, they come up again. She's supposed to hide them. She hides them in her locket. I thought she was going to use them to torture people later in the film.
That's what I thought they were for.
And I love so much that instead it did the Mandy thing.
Yeah.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Absolutely the same. I had the same foreshadowing, Chekhov's peyote, but threw me a curveball.
Peyote?
Peyote.
Part of my issue with the film is simply the genre of itself. I was worried there was going to be a more tasteless rape than there was, or that given the way the substance was, that it might be really harrowing and like gross. But then also just the rape revenge genre, it's like, it is what it says on the tin. And so you kind of know what's going to happen. And even for me personally, even if it's presented in a very interesting way, it's still like the first part and then the second part, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's that whole genre being made from a different perspective and kind of making it new. Kind of like we talked about with Mystery Road. Very similar with this.
We got to start a drinking game every time you bring up a fucking Mystery Road again.
Wait, there's a X-rated version of it?
Movie have...
I'm cutting that out. Dude. Think about Jay Swan that way.
That is not at all what I thought you'd be cutting.
Wait, so he doesn't join his daughter and wife in hooking at the end?
Anyway, we're talking.
Cut that out, but you have to keep our laughter.
All right, here's some fanfare. I got some fanfare for you. Imagine some fanfare. We're gonna have the Squid Academy Awards. We're gonna keep track of the squibs as we go over the season. So by the end, we'll have like a master list of the best squibs.
Nice.
So for the first award is the Beheaded Samurai Geyser Award for Best Squib and Revenge. I got to go with Car Seat.
Car Seat.
What do you guys think?
Oh, this is different than the bit that I thought we were doing, which was the Squib and the Whale, where we were going to say who let's even be improved with a fat suit or somebody in a fat suit. And we'll turn it over to you, Ryan, to comment.
I can certainly say that this movie would have been different if Bryan Singer had directed it.
So the question, kid, is which of the four squibs is most like a samurai cutting off?
No, what's like the coolest, the best? It's basically the best.
Oh,
I got Car Seat.
Yeah, me too. Car Seat.
All right, we got a majority there. 3.
Car Seat sounds like there's a toddler in the
Car Seat Headrest is a band though, so we can't say that.
Yeah,
we'll get copyrighted.
We don't want that.
We don't want to be copyrighted
by the Russians.
Okay, and here's one that might apply more to the next movie. Is the Willem Dafoe and Platoon Award for Did I Miss a Squib? Why'd that guy die? The Too Subtle Squib Award. Are there any squibs in Revenge that are too subtle?
No.
I don't think that's a problem so either. With that movie.
Okay. And
well, we don't really know how he shot that animal that he throws onto the windshield.
That's true.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So best squib and coolest squib, I have them as two different things. We might want to recalculate that. But the second to the last award is the Quentin Tarantino Award for coolest squib. I will definitely rip off, but Neckbeards will call it an homage award for coolest use of a squib. Because we have to go with Car Seat again?
I feel like, it's the same question.
Okay.
What is the sentence you just said?
That something so cool, Quentin Tarantino will rip it off, and the Neckbeards will say, it's an homage.
Oh,
I'm just ripping it off.
Okay, I see.
All the love to QT, by the way.
Wait, so how are we going to do this question when we do Django, which is a movie that he...
Oh, the names of the awards are going to change
gotcha.
Every 2 episodes, so don't worry about that.
Oh,
so
great.
I have best squib and coolest squib I have is 2 different things. We can make it one thing, and I can get rid of one.
Let's figure that out when we're not recording.
All right. So the last one will apply more to the next movie, not so much this one. The PG-13 inspired award for Shouldn't There Be Blood There? For chickening out on a squib, which is like when that could also be the Willem Dafoe thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chickening out on any of the gore in this movie.
I think they chicken out towards the end.
Say more.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a joke.
Yeah, this is so over the top. That's got to be.
Yeah,
an A.
I mean,
Okay.
there could have been a point where she like reached in, because she did have the knife, but she didn't. She uses her fingers to reach into that wound, and it would have been pretty amazing if she like grabbed his spine and started like using him like a puppet. And so there was a little bit of restraint shown by the director there.
Do any of you guys watch anime?
I've seen Berserk.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's about it.
I've seen Paprika and the other one.
Yeah.
Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue, yeah.
I don't know if she's a fan of anime or she just gets to the same spot, but one of the things I do really like about her movies is, to your point, Jacque, about the obvious references and everything, the obvious symbolism, she is able to use all that obvious symbolism to extend her ideas to their irrational extreme. And anime is really good at that too, where in the middle of a battle or something, you will get such heightened emotion from the image that's presented that you get a lot of what people are feeling and a lot of like a deeper meaning from it. And I was just reminded of that because in anime, she might have torn the spine out of someone and used them as Unfortunately, I don't think this director had that kind of budget for this movie.
Oh, I saw Akira as well.
Yeah, Akira's
Akira. I've seen Akira.
Yeah,
as well.
well.
That's great.
The quick shout outs, because I feel like we're winding down, for things that I also really like in this film. I did like the binoculars being used during the party scene.
Yeah.
To do extreme close-ups and as a bit of foreshadowing of what might be soon to happen. I really like, and I don't know if others liked it or not, but it did feel similar to Mandy, where the motorcycle is like on a sound stage being shot head on.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
music sounds like Goblin playing in the background. Maybe if Goblin was remixed by Daft Punk or something.
She did cite Kill Bill as an influence, and that has the Uma scene where she's driving and speaking directly to camera.
So maybe something that she would do as an homage, but rip off, but the next period would say as an homage. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think it was an excellent choice for earring.
Yeah.
I think that earring becomes iconic.
Completely iconic.
Yeah.
Her whole look is very iconic.
It just pops against all the darkness and the drabness that's going on around it.
Yeah. It's like the color in Fury Road. It really pops out.
One thing.
Or Schindler's List.
Wow.
Yeah.
One thing that I really liked about it was all the ass shots. And that's because that is the way, even whenever a male director is doing this kind of female empowerment action movie, they always got to slip in some ass shots where it's like, oh, yeah, Uma Thurman's the hero and we're not sexually objectifying anything but her feet. But here's a little peek at what her ass is like, as she's going around this corner. And this movie, just every time our heroine walks into a room, we got to cut to the low-key ass shot. And I feel like she's just pointing out how often that happens in other movies in related genres.
Ass
100%.
and abs. It seems like it cuts from like the back to the front.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So do you think this movie would have been better, just different, or far worse if it had been shot in the style of and had the same lead actress as Amelie?
Wow.
I think we would have had some spine pulled out and used as a lasso.
You're saying like
Juno did it.
Are you relitigating Aliens 4 as the best?
Second best Aliens film? Is that what you're speaking of right now, Thomas? Alien Resurrection, I think.
I think that's what he wants. Oh man.
Don't read my intentions into what I just said. That's not what I was.
No, even though Joss Whedon wrote that script or came in on it.
That's a terrible movie, but it has...
It's a great film in spite of Joss's involvement.
It's terrible, Ryan. It has the best basketball throw in any movie ever, and that's it.
No, when she is wishing goodbye to her mutant alien human
Jesus
hybrid baby
fucking
at the end,
Christ.
that is fucking cinema, baby.
Emphasis on sin.
All right.
Thank you, Ryan, for a new. I think it's come out by now. A new
Theme song.
theme song to the
Woo!
show. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one.
Just for Squib season.
Yeah.
Love it.
And we are pairing this with From Hell to Eternity.
Nope, just Hell to Eternity.
There's no from.
Hell to
Yeah,
Eternity.
I fucked that up
Hell
too.
to
You screwed
Eternity.
me
I
up
always
so
go
many
from
times.
No, drop
her
the
to eternity, from
drop
here to
the
eternity,
from
hell to
cleaner.
eternity. Okay, with Captain Christopher Pike and Sulu.
Damn it!
I didn't
That
recognize
was my
Pike.
research.
And the police chief from Dirty Harry. And the main character from The Invaders.
Well, now you don't have to listen to the episode.
I just ruined it. Sorry. Thank you guys. Great start to a very bloody season.
Squib season.
I'm waiting for Thomas to say something funny.
Well, you might be waiting for a while. It's already been an hour and some change.
Okay.
25, and she got 26 shots when they died. And there were squibs when they died. 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 Yeah, they made a big mess when they died. On they follow Walker down South American way. It got squibby, sticky, messy when they got there that day. Peyton lost his love and so he made a face. Django met a dentist, but big holes in little brains. Montoya's chest exploded, somehow wasn't the cocaine. And there were squibs when they died. There were squibs when they died. And there were squibs when they died. There were squibs when they died. Yeah, they made a big mess, and then they died.
It's a condom?
Coralie Fargeat.
Did I?
Fargeat.
Peyote.
Noir.
2 betas and 1 alpha.
Noir.
Wait, isn't that what I just said?
That is fucking cinema, baby.
Movie. Best of movie.
Fargeat.